How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
First of all, I'm very impressed with anybody who would take on a lifestyle of vegan based on what's required and discipline and everything that's involved. I'm most impressed that if you're able, anyone, including yourself, talking about it, they would transition their life from eating regular foods go all the way to the extreme, eating nothing but plant-based foods rather than anything from animal. I mean, that's going to be a pretty incredible transition to make for anyone. What would be the word of encouragement for somebody that's trying to switch their lifestyle, eating habits?
Right. Well, here's the first thing that I would suggest is to add more vegan foods to your plate. Okay. So everybody already eats grains, and those are vegan foods. Everybody already eats fruits, vegan foods. Everybody already eats vegetables, vegan foods. Everybody already eats nuts and beans, vegan foods. You just don't consider them vegan, but they are. So that it's not really strange or extreme, you just don't think of them as vegan. So everybody actually already eats vegan foods. It's just most people don't eat them exclusively, right? So if you're eating meat and dairy, the goal is to just add more of the plant-based vegan foods to your plate. So like if you have a salad, you can add a larger portion of your plate, maybe half your plate or a third of your plate, as opposed to maybe never or just a small portion of your plate. If you have grains, if you have rice, it's usually white rice. You can try red rice, black rice, yellow rice, and brown rice. Those are whole grains. They have all of the fiber. They're healthier. And you can add those to your plate more, right? And you can start to eat more fruit. If you can have 3 whole pieces of fruit in a day, and you can eat vegetables on your plate at least twice a day for lunch and dinner, you're doing yourself a world of good. Most people don't even do that. And at the same time, make your grains whole grains. So instead of white bread, whole wheat bread. Instead of waffles made with enriched flour, which is basically white flour, try to have them made with a whole grain flour, like oat or spelt or whole wheat or rye. And, you know, they're readily available if you get them packaged. So it's just switching ingredients, right? But you're really already eating vegan foods. You just don't consider them that way. It's just, you know, eating an apple is really something that we should consider as basic and natural. Eating a dead bird or a dead cow is really not appetizing. But we season it and disguise what it is so that we don't see ourselves as actually eating an animal, right? But it's all. But if you just ate that animal dead, you know, just bit into it, saw it on the side of the road, you wouldn't want to eat it. You're not attracted to roadkill, right? But if there was a cherry pie on the side of the road, you'd like that. So it's really all about how we season the meat. And the seasonings are usually dried herbs anyway. They're plants. So it's just a matter of learning how to season the food that's vegan as opposed to plant-based. So it is a transition, but it really isn't as difficult as people may seem, as people may think it is. And it's already something that we're already doing anyway. So, but yeah, I would say just start where you are and just, you know, add more to your plate. Yeah, definitely. Yes, you have another question?
Yes, as a vegan, what vitamins should you add to your diet to, I guess, make up for protein?
Excellent question. I have a chapter in there called Where Do You Get Your Protein Mix? And the reason that chapter is in there is because that's the first question that vegetarians or vegans get. Where do you get your protein, right? And I decided, you know, that I should start paying myself $1 every time I got that, because I have a trip to the Caribbean by the end of each year because I get that question so much. But the deal is this. The meat industry has us believe that protein equals meat, right? Protein and meat are the same thing. Protein is a nutrient that is found in meat. The protein is a nutrient that's found in vegetables. It's found even in fruit. It's found in whole grains. It's found in beans and nuts, lentils, split peas. Protein is in all plant-based foods, right? The difference is that animal-based protein also comes with saturated fat and cholesterol. You cannot get one without the others. Saturated fat, cholesterol, animal protein come together. there is 0 cholesterol in plant-based foods. None. You cannot get cholesterol from plant-based foods. And there's very low or no saturated fat in plant-based foods. So they don't clog your arteries or lead to heart attack, which is the #1 cause of death in the country. Okay? So it is very easy to get protein simply by eating plant-based foods. It's almost impossible not to get enough. So that's a myth. You know, that people automatically think that they'll be protein deprived if they don't get, if they eat vegan foods. It's just not true. Cows grow to be about a ton, 1,000 pounds, and on their normal diet, they eat grass. Their skeleton is supported by grass, right? They're getting the protein from the grass. When you eat a cow, when you eat a pig, when you eat a goat or a duck or chicken or turkey, you're getting that secondhand protein. And you can get it directly from where they get it, from plant-based foods. So in terms of supplementation itself, though, supplementation, you know, having vitamins, you know, is not a bad idea. People think of it as like an insurance policy because sometimes the nutrients that are in the fruits and vegetables and the vegan foods are not as potent as they could be, especially if they've been shipped from across the world. So supplementation isn't a bad thing. I go back and forth because it's so expensive. You know, sometimes I just don't want to spend $25, $30 a month on some supplements. But sometimes I'm just like, maybe I should, you know. But the best thing is, you know, because I'm eating a vegan diet and I eat greens a lot, I'm pretty protected. But for folks who are just transitioning, I usually recommend it, just a basic vegan supplement. Yeah. So that's the long answer to your question. Now, is anybody in here an aspiring writer? No? A little bit? Okay. Well, this book has been a long time coming for me. And so I've been wanting to be a writer since I was a kid. So I really, and we have an author here who's written at least 4 books that she just told me about. So I just want to say, to encourage you to write. Do it. I mean, writing this book, publishing this book has changed everything in terms of what I believe I can achieve. And so if it's a dream of yours to do that, I say to do it. Publish yourself or get a publisher to do it. But absolutely do it. You know, don't wait. And just go through the process. Every part of the process changes you in some way. It did for me. So I want to encourage that. Does anybody else have any questions? No? You do?
So the one complaint a lot of vegetarians and vegans make is that, or people make about it, is that you can't get B12,
right.
like vitamin B12, or I think that's the main one that's only in milk.
Right. Well.
And then they put that in something like soy milk, but do you take a supplement for that, or is there another way you find way to put that in your diet without taking one?
Yeah, that's another question that people have in addition to protein. People who know a little more ask about B12 as well. So here's the deal. People think that B12 is important in very small amounts. It's a vitamin that we need in very small amounts. And it's very important for the nervous system, right? But the deal is that B12 is not found in animal